Okay. Hare Krishna. तो आपको स्वागत हमारा प्रॉपर लीलामृत स्टडी रे ଆମେ ପଢୁଥିଲେ ଯେ ପ୍ରଭାତ କେମିତି ସେଇ ଯାଇକି ଗୋଟେ ନୂଆ ଜାଗାରେ ଆମେରିକାରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ପ୍ରଭାତ ଯାଇକି ଆଡଜଷ୍ଟ କରିପାରୁଛି ଆମେରିକାରେ ମାନେ ସେଇ ସମୟରେ ଯେ ଆସିକି ହିପିସ୍ ମାନେ ଦେଖାଦେଲେ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ଆଶ୍ଚର୍ଯ୍ୟଜନକ ଘଟଣାବଳୀ Bhaktivedanta Swami had not made a study of the youth movement in America before moving the Lower East Side. He had never ever made specific plans to come here amid so many young people. But in the 10 months since Calcutta, he had been moved by the force of circumstance, or as he understood it, by Krishna's will. तो सब किसी कृष्ण को विल रे होची एटा प्रॉपर ठीक ठीक ग्रहण करते रिसेंटली गोटे कोट आस्थिला से लिखा इतला जे माने हमर भक्ति रे कृष्ण को पाखे प्रार्थना करिया माने कृष्ण को पाखे ए प्रार्थना करिवा जे आमे केमती कृष्ण को विल जोटा कृष्ण को इच्छा जोटा सेटा को पालन करिया रे हम सक्षम कृष्ण को इच्छाटा पालन करिया सक्षम होबा केमती सेटा ही भक्ति रो सब बड़ कथा On the order of his spiritual master, he had come to America, and by Krishna's will, he had come to Lower East Side. Guru Maharaj order kale isme America gale. Ebe Krishna ko ichha re se jaga ne asi pahunchant. So his mission here was at the same as it had been on the Bowery or the uptown, even in India. So what is Prabhupada mission saying? How he can fulfill his spiritual master's order. Spiritual master Gurudev for order can be He was fixed in the order of his spiritual master and the Vedic view. A view that was not going to be influenced by the radical changes of the 60s. Now, if it so happened that these young people, because of some change in the American cultural climate, were to prove more receptive to him, then that would be welcome. And that would also be Krishna's will. Actually, because of his only flaws, because of the omnious influence of the Kali millennium, this was historically the worst of time for spiritual cultivation, hippie, evolution, or not. जे जहाँ भी कोई पारे सत्य कहते जे कली रो प्रभाव जोगु spiritual cultivation my worst of times. And Bhaktivedanta Swami was trying to translate Vedic culture into a more alien ground than had in a previous spiritual master. So he expected to find his work extremely difficult. Prabhupada जानी थिले जे ए समय रे एक गोटे नुआ जगह रे आसी प्रचार करछि केते डिफिकल्ट हबो मते किछि जिंस करिया होई Prabhupada जानी थिले बहुत डिफिकल्ट हबो yet in this generally bad age just prior to Bhaktivedanta Swami's arrival on the Lower East Side, tremors of dissatisfaction and revolt against Kali Yuga culture itself began vibrating through American society, sending waves of young people to wander the streets of New York's Lower East Side in search of something beyond their ordinary life, looking for alternatives, seeking spiritual fulfillment. तो जदियो एटा असंभव लागुछि किंतु सेही समय रे कोनोसी कारण पूरा यूथ जो माने बहुत डिससैटिस्फाइड हे गेले आसिके कली जुगर कल्चर आसिके माने न्यूयॉर्क रे पर्टिकुलर लोअर ईस्ट साइड रे आसिके बुलिले कोन पाए दे वांट समथिंग हायर रियलाइजेशन दरकार बोली कहि आसले. So these young people, broken from their stereotype materialistic backgrounds and drawn together Now on the New York's Lower East Side, where the ones who had by chance or destiny to become a congregation for Bhaktivedanta Swami storefront, offerings of kirtan, spiritual matters. किए जानला प्रभुपाद जाननथले जे सही माने ही माने आसी हिप्पी हेक बुलुथिबे जो माने ताको मेटेरियलिस्टिक लाइफस्टाइल बोर्ड है के आसी सब छाड़ी छुड़ा की स्पिरिचुअल अपलिफ्टमेंट पाई आसी बुलुथिबे सही जगह रे से माने परे आसी की ये मैचलेस गिफ्ट रे जॉइन करिए एटा किए जानला प्रभुपाद जाननथले. So Bhaktivedanta Swami's arrival went unnoticed. The neighbor said someone new had taken the gifts up next to the laundry. There was a strange picture in the window now, but no one knew what to make of it. They did not know what Bhagavad Gita was, and the few who did thought, most लोग जाननथले कि अछंती सेठी मरि कि रोचन कि जाननथले आ जो मान को जणा भी थिला जे एटा ओटे स्वामी जी आसी रहिचंती सेमाने मध्य क्लियर पिक्चर नथला तार जे किए से स्वामी जी सेमान पाखे मध्य क्लियर पिक्चर नथिला आउ भगवत गीता से जान नथले जो मान जानि थिले सन को भाउतले मे बी योगा बुक स्टोर और समथिंग एटा ओटे बही दुकान. The Puerto-Ricans, the neighborhood, would look in the window at Harvey Cohen's painting of Lord Chaitanya. तो से पाखरे उठे Puerto Ricans ची neighborhood रे थिला से सबले देखि बाय जे गोटे चैतन्य महाप्रभु गोटे पेंटिंग थिला ताकर एसोसिएट्स माना से को पेंटिंग ता गले पंचतत्व singing and dancing and then blankly walk away. The manager of the mobile gas station next door could not care less who had moved in. It just did not make any difference. The tombstone sellers and the undertakers across the street did not care, and for the drivers of the countless cars and trucks that passed by, Swamiji's place didn't even exist. Man said it's changeable. किए आसला किए गला एते जणा पड़ला तेन जोडा हाट लागिछ हाट रे किए बसची किए नाइ किए जानछे. But there were young people around who had been intrigued with the painting, who went up to the window to read the little piece of paper. Some of them even knew that about Bhagavad Gita, although the painting of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. तो जदियो बेसी लोक लेन देन नथला से माने जाउ नथले साडी खाली देखले जोडे पेंटिंग अछि गोटे चैतन्य महाप्रभु एवं ताक पार्षद माना कि माथाबाजी करिवो के टाइम ले किंतु जो माने इंटरेस्टेड थिले सा जाउथि. A few thought maybe they would attend Swami Bhaktivedanta classes and check out the scene. किचन भाबले चलनो क्लास करी देखिया केन लागुछि तो क्लास करिया को किछि जण आसिले. One July morning, Howard Miller was hurrying from his apartment on Mott Street to a friend's apartment on 5th Street, a quiet place where he hoped to find some peace. He walked up Mott Street, Houston, turned right and began to walk east across Bowery, past the rushing traffic and stumbling derailings, and towards Second Avenue. तो एभली भाबरे गोटे जुलाई मासरे गोटे सकाळे रे हावर्ड विलर एभली आछि से जागा तो हावर्ड ता मेमोरी रे कोन कहउछंदी Howard coaches. After crossing Bowery just before the Second Avenue, I saw Swamiji jauntily strolling down the sidewalk, his head held down high in the air, his hand in the bead bag, and he struck me like a famous actor in a very familiar movie. Prabhupada mane actor bhaliya laguchi. Prabhupada mundo upru upari bead bag dhariki chaluthi. He struck me like a famous actor in a familiar movie. He seemed ageless. Prabhupada କେତେ ବୟସର କେହି କହିପାରିବେନି. He was wearing the traditionally saffron colored robes of a sannyasi and quaint white suits with points. Prabhupada କଣ ପିନ୍ଧିଥିଲେ? ନା Prabhupada ସନ୍ନ୍ୟାସୀ ଡ୍ରେସ୍ ପିନ୍ଧିଥିଲେ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କ ସୁଜରେ ଏଭଳି ପଏଣ୍ଟ ମଧ୍ୟ ଥିଲା. Coming down Houston, he looked like the genie that popped out of Aladdin's lamp. Prabhupada ever laguଥିଲା ନା genie ଭଳି. Genie କଣ କରିପାରିବ? Anything you say, it will be accomplished. So Howard is 26, was a tall, large-bodied man with long, dark hair, profuse beard, and black-framed eyeglasses. He was an instructor in English at Ohio State University and was fresh from a trip to India where he had been looking for a true guru. Howard gets qualified. Howard was a professor in English. State Ohio State University. How says India फेरिଛନ୍ତି कौन देखिए ना गुरु को खोजिବା. So Bhaktivedanta Swami noticed Howard and they both stopped simultaneously. Howard asked the first question that popped into his mind. Are you from India? Howard प्रथम एक question पहुंचे. Bhaktivedanta Swami smiled and said, हाँ. Howard Kwela. I told him no, but that I had just returned from India and was very interested in his country and Hindu beliefs. He told me he had come from Calcutta and he had been in New York almost 10 months. His eyes were as fresh, cordial as a child's, and even standing before the trucks that roared and rumbled their way down Houston Street, he emanated a cool tranquility that was unshakably established in something far beyond the great metropolis that roared around us. तो प्रभुपाद पचारे तुम कोठे आछो तो इंडिया रो आछो से कहले मु इंडिया रो फेरीची हावर्ड कहछन मु इंडिया रो फेरीची किंतु मते इंडिया रो सभ्यता बहुत जानिया इच्छा आई फिलोसॉफी मते he told से कहले जे प्रभुपाद कहले ताकु जे मु कैलकाटा रो आछी आ न्यूयॉर्क रे 10 मास पाखापाखि हे गला तो ए भली कहला बेले प्रभुपाद से कहछन जे प्रभुपाद पूरा पिल्ला भलिया ताकर नेचर प्रभुपाद सेठी ठिया के एभली ताकु उत्तर दउछन भीड़ ट्रैफिक भीड़ रो जोटा सबले. Howard never made it to his friend's place that day. Howard जाउथले जणा सांग घरु किंतु आ सांग घरु गले. He went back to his own apartment on Wall Street to Keith and Wally. So Howard संगे संगे आउ न जाय कि ताको सांग बाहु जो जाउथले सीधा ताका अपार्टमेंट टू गले मॉल स्ट्रीट रे और से जाय कि Keith आउ Wally कहले his roommates and told them and everyone he knew about the guru who had inexplicably appeared within their midst. He told how and the Swami had stood and talked together and how the Swami had mentioned his place nearby on 2nd Avenue, where he was planning to hold some classes. तो एवं भावने से जगह को असले हावर्ड और कीथ और वेली को मध्य से जनेला सब विषय. Howard पूछे, I walked around the first at the corner with him. He pointed out a small storefront building between 1st and 2nd Streets, the next door to mobile filling station. It had been a curiosity shop. Someone had painted the words "matchless gift" over the window. फोटोटा समझते देखी थी मैसेज लिखाई थी. At that time, I didn't realize how prophetic these words were. This is a good area, he asked me. Prabhupada. I told him that I thought it was. I had no idea what he was going to offer at his classes But I knew that all my friends would be glad that an Indian Swami was moving into our neighborhood. से बहुत खुशी लगे so I'm more advanced so खुशी है प्रभात को देखी जने Indian Swami आश्चर्य. The word spread, although it wasn't so easy now for Carl Higgins and certain others to come up from the Bowery and Chinatown. They had other things to do. Roy Dubois, 25-year-old writer for the comic books, had visited the Swami on the Bowery, and when he heard about the Swami's new place, he wanted to drop by. ସେମାନେ ଆଗରୁ ଆସୁଥିଲେ କିଛି ପିଲା ଜଣ ଥାନ୍ତି କ୍ଲାସରେ ଆଗରୁ ଆସୁଥିବେ ତ ଯଦି ଟିକେ ଦୂରକୁ ପଳେଇବେ ଆଉ ଭୁଲିଯିବେ ଆଉ ଆସିବେ so ହଁ ଆସନ୍ତୁ ଟିକେ ଆଉ ପାଞ୍ଚ କ୍ଲାସ ବସ୍ତା ହଁ ମୁଁ 10 ମିନିଟ୍ ପରେ ହଁ ବସିଛନ୍ତି So James Green and Bill Epstein had not forgotten the Swami, and they wanted to had not forgotten the Swami, and they wanted to come. तो किसी जना सही जगह रो पुना जगह रो जो सही जो थिला होटल टा जो तो सही जो किसी जना आसे हो चाहूँगी आ किसी जना मना करते लावास जिनके मन असले जेम्स ग्रीन और बिल एप्स्टीन. The Paradox restaurant, say hotel, was still a live connection and brought new interested people. And others like Stephen Guarino saw the Swami sign in the window. Steve is 26, was a case worker for the city's welfare department. And one day on his lunch break, as he was walking home to the welfare office at 5th Street and 2nd Avenue, he saw the Swami's sign taped to the window. He had been reading a paperback Gita, and he promised himself that he would attend the Swami's class. So every Steve Madhya देखिया कि पहला गुड दिनो जेठी Swami ji class दोचे. Howard had also noticed the little sign in the window that day as he had stood with the Swami before the storefront. The Howard Keitha Valley and के पहले सब बोले हावर्ड हला हाइग्रीव प्रभु की थला कीर्तनानंद महाराज आउ वेली मतलब जो वेली बोलते वेली बोलते उमापति वेली हाँ तो ये मैंने सब थिले से तीन जना आउ इपटे स्टीव हला ये सब स्वरूप महाराज तो ये से सब क्लास तापट आसले तो भगवत गीता क्लास एटा लिखा इला ताकर स्टोर फ्रंट लेक्चर्स भगवत गीता एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी मंडे वेडनेसडे एंड फ्राइडे 7 to 9 p.m. Will you bring your friends? Prabhupada had asked. Yes, Howard had promised. Monday evening. The Monday evening, Ani Willi, Howard quietly. तब Howard Ani के अस्तित्व है. तो एथिकल तो के किसी पढ़े ना मैं मैथलेस तो मैं देखी जब बहुत तरह से फोटो टा देख चलना सब टाइम देखे चले मानना चाहिए
कौन प्रभु पहले मैं बिच्छी लाने का थी ना कौन पहले
मैथलेस गिफ्ट सॉफ्टवेयर तो देखी चलना
हाँ देखी चल
हाँ एटा
हाँ प्रभु जी मैं देखते ला बना तो टिके दिखी दिले
तो जातले
ଏବେ ବହୁତ इसका ने एमदी नेशनल गिफ्ट लिखाई सब पड़ा रही
हां ଏବେ ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ ଆମେ ସେଭ ନା हरे कृष्ण टेम्पल तो ऊपर लिखा है ना आगु बे लिखा है किंतु एबे बहुत जगह रे सेम शॉप नेम रखा है बिकॉज़ प्रभुपाद लाइव सेट आ से जो चैतन्य महाप्रभु का जो फोटोटा सेटा तो बुझ पाले ना फोटोटा पांच जन थिबे आ चतुर्थ से फोटोटा थिला फेमली मैचलेस स्क्रिप्ट प्रोग्राम्स होता है समझते आसिबा स्टार्ट कर The summer evening was warm and in the storefront the back windows and the front door were open wide. The summer रे बहुत गरम है तो सब खोल दिया ने मैंने कवर. The young men, several of them dressed in the black denims and button-down sport shirts with broad dull stripes, had left their own sneakers by the front door and were now sitting on the floor. Most of them were from the Lower East Side. No one had to go to great trouble to come here. समस्त प्राय से पाखापाखी जगार आउ सेवन चपल छाड़ी ना भितर आसी जाइछथि and most of them were from Lower East Side. One had to go to great trouble to come here. काल तो खोजिया पड़े समस्त से पाखापाखी रहउछन तो जानथिले. The little room was barren. No pictures, no furniture, no rug, not even a chair. Kitchen light. Only a few plain straw mats. A single bulb hung from the ceiling into the center of the room. It was 7 o'clock, and about a dozen people had gathered when Bhaktivedanta Swami suddenly opened a side door and entered the room. The Prabhupada room enter kala bele सेतळो बस 10-12 जन थिले हमले प्रॉपर रूम रे एंटर करछन साइड वाला कोर्टयार्ड वाला. He wasn't wearing a shirt. Prabhupada is wearing a shirt. The saffron cloth that wrapped his torso left his arms and some of his chest bare. तो Prabhupada ए वाला जो महाराज मन जे वाला पिनथि से वाला पिनथले ऊपर. His complexion was smooth golden brown and as they watched him his head's 7. His ears long low and his aspect grave. The Prabhupada looked. It seemed like pictures they had seen of the Buddha in meditation. So Buddha he was old yet erect in his posture. Fresh and radiant. His forehead was decorated with a yellowish clay markings of the Vaishnava tilak. Bhaktivedanta Swami recognized big beard Howard and smiled. Oh, you have brought your friends? Yes, Howard answered in his loud, resonant voice. The Prabhupada पूछे तुम संगवन मान देलो से वो से वाले कहिबे तो भाजा जेति की थाओ कॉल आछे मोर तपर परे एठो हमें कंटिन्यू करिया तो प्रभुपाद एठी ता डिस्क्रिप्शन देई छथि हावर्ड सदति तापरे जिबे मैंने हावर्ड दा संगमन नहीं गया छथि प्रभुपाद को रूम रे बसछथि से देखिले बेले प्रभुपाद ए बेले ड्रेस पिनछथि बेले तांकर लुक आ बुद्ध वाली देखाउ छथि से देखि तापर से कॉल कर छथि सॉरी तापर से क्लास रे बसछथि आ तार भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी कहिबे क्लास स्टार्ट हो क्लास रे कोन होबो एटा गोटे एठो हम स्टार्ट करी प्रभात बसिला परे रूम रे कोन सेटा हला हमर नेक्स्ट क्लास रे डिस्कशन. हरे कृष्णा जय जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम जी.
दंडवत प्रणाम
प्रभुजी प्रभुपादंकर ताले प्रथम आले
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम
माने भक्तिर प्रथम देशा
नाही 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 किती दानंद ना
से कितने डाकी केंजे ना हाइग्रीव आज पडिला ने से जो थिले हाइग्रीव डाकी केंजे ना आगो ने हाइग्रीव से डाकी केंजे कितनंद को सत्तर प्रभु को कितनंद प्रभु को तापर एली जोतिवे से माताजी को तीन जन मामती माताजी
नहीं समस्त नहीं समस्त आसना बे आछन पांच छह जन हां से बेले तापर आ बाकी आसीबे
हाँ हाँ
आसबे आउ प्रॉपर सीजन तापरे बे हम चलिबा ओके ठीक है हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम
हरे कृष्ण
ओके
प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे
प्रभु
कृष्ण
जी
हरे
दंडवत
कृष्णा
प्रणाम। हरे
दंडवत प्रणाम।
प्रणाम माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रीतिश
हरे
प्रभु
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम रजी माताजी हरे कृष्ण संतोष ओके हरे कृष्ण सुधाराणी माताजी हरे कृष्ण